Take a trip with us to Nilbog. Just promise not to drink the goo.
Oh my God!
If you get sucked into the Matrix, we will send a phone for you.
Do you believe in fate?
But every movie has a plot hole, and every hole gets filled somehow with whiskey, wine, or blue milk. Just don't cut me off right now. We're the Plotaholics, a breakfast club of two. We're the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Plotaholics podcast. I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Bryan Tan himself. Bryan Tan.
Hey, yo!
Mr. Tan, how are you this week?
I'm trying to do this whole thing where I don't fuss and complain and yell and pop blood vessels. But I'd like to take a minute to say that I would love to give someone a hard ticket to an ass whooping for hitting my car in my parking lot.
Yeah, that is no good. In fact, I would even volunteer that you would like to give them an easy ticket to an ass whooping. No reason for it to be difficult to come by.
That's true. I really think that it should just be a free form ass whooping.
Yeah, just welcome to the party. Here's a complimentary gift bag of assorted ass whoopings.
Absolutely. With an assortment of different shoes from my size 15 to put on.
Now, someone hit your car and then a tree hit your car?
Yeah. This is the second time in a year that a tree has come down on my vehicle.
That's so crazy that someone hit your car and before you even got a chance to see it, also a tree hit your car.
Yeah, well, thankfully it wasn't like the whole tree like last time. For those that don't recall, last year, and I'll put some pictures up on the Plotaholics Facebook page for folks to see. It looked like a whole goddamn tree.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't even hardly see the car.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, and then it was determined that it was undrivable, and then that's how I got this car. Well, yeah, some dingleberry hit my car, and then it turns out, I don't know if it was before or after, but then they hit and they backed into it. And it did more damage to their car than mine because, the covers over my my rear lights aren't damaged or anything.
Yeah, well, if they backed into it, feels like maybe they live nearby.
Yeah, I was checking the parking lot to see people.
Yeah, it was a hit and run.
Yeah, that's what the police are listening.
That feels. There aren't that many people doing a lot of visiting this time.
Oh no, there are some days where folks be showing up and parking in that parking lot.
So it feels like it might be kind of easy to spot the culprit.
Yeah, and I swear, if I see someone's car and it looks like, and it's, I'm snitching. I'm snitching, and I dare them to try to give me some stitches.
Yeah.
I will punch their sphincters with the power of Asgard.
There you go. I want to start this week by encouraging everybody to rate and review us on all of the appropriate podcast channels. Wherever you're listening to us, throw a review up there, or at least a rating. Make sure that you like, share, and tell your friends. And if you're interested in joining a safe space for all fandoms, feel free to ask for an invite to Fandoms United on Facebook.
Absolutely. It's an awesome place, and I'll tell you the truth, it's become a lot of fun. We get regular postings. We're getting postings, a couple times a day, and it's free form. Anything that you would see in other fandom Facebook groups, it's what we have to offer, minus the intolerance and the hatred.
Yeah, we just have a zero tolerance policy for intolerance, as ironic as that seems.
Yeah, I know, right?
Now, in what I hope becomes a semi-regular new segment, Mr. Tan, I want to introduce everybody to a segment that I like to call "Who's Talking About Us This Week?"
Ooh. I think I'm gonna like this segment.
Yeah, I think that this is something that we should revisit. You know, we will feature reviews, we'll feature emails. If you want to email the show, please, by all means, email us at plotaholicspodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you about whatever's on your mind.
But if you're rude, we're probably gonna say something about it.
Yeah, that's right. But if it's charming or funny, then we would love to feature those. We would love to feature your voice here on the show. This week, Bryan, you were featured actually in a sort of writerly aspect on Alicia Lynn's The Blacklist.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, which is very, very cool website. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I'm friend of a friend with Alicia for a couple of years now. We've talked a little bit, and she was embarking on this new endeavor, and she put it out there to, I believe it was on Instagram. She put it out there that if, there was anyone that was, in the African-American community that is involved in arts or anything like that, to let her know. And I spoke up for myself and said, well, me, I'm writing and doing my podcasting. And she said, well, give me all of your info and we'll go from there. And next, I didn't really expect anything to come about. I just figured, she already had stuff, maybe in due time. But no, one day I woke up and I've got a link from her and there it is. And it's probably one of the most, it was an amazing write-up. Like,
it really was, yeah.
I did not expect anything like that. I mean, hell, made me fall in love with one of my books all over again.
Yeah, we'll have to throw a link up, but the Plotaholics specific section, if I may, Mr. Tan.
Oh, please do.
Tan also co-hosts the Plotaholics podcast, where he shares banter and perspectives of Shane Wilson, a fellow novelist and frontman of Sequoia Rising, whom I assume is to thank for the show's MST3K reminiscent theme. Now, Bryan, let me pause for a second. That is high praise.
Yes, it is. Oh, my goodness. I mean, I read that part at least 5 times.
Yeah, and you're right. I am responsible for that. Of course, Mr. Tan is featured in some vocals and stuff on there. But, yeah, high praise. Back to the article. Currently presenting their Shitty Movie Summer Series, this pair trades blow for blow, reviewing some of the best and the worst achievements in full-length features. Witty and informative, I recommend catching up with this warm-hearted duo for the fun they share in covering unequivocal classics like Samurai Cop. Shot rating seriously. Listeners will surely enjoy gaining insight, backstory, and drinking game ideas to bring to their next Zoom watch party. So thank you very much, Alicia, Lynn, for the shout out. We'll be sure to post that article over on the Plotaholics Facebook page and Twitter machine.
I'll tell you, man, Alicia's awesome, and I was I'm so grateful, and I want to send a heartfelt shout out and thank you for just thinking of me and including me. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Now, Bryan, this week, I don't know if you have your ticket yet or how easy it was to come by, but we are headed for just, I don't know. It was like watching someone film an entire book of Mad Libs.
Oh man, it's almost no. This is what happens when you can't get the rights to the Avengers, the British version or the American version.
Yeah, or James Bond or any other spy movie.
Yeah, but you don't want to name your movie Assignment Unachievable.
Right. Yeah.
And then you throw in nudity. Lots of nudity.
Well, I feel like
galore.
There's a part of me that thinks that we're probably going to spend equal time talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Andy Sidaris, as we will talking about his film here, because I think Andy is something that you will see moving forward in my half of Shitty Movie Summer is really the personalities of the directors tend to eclipse the actual product that they present. That was not the case for Samurai Cop. The stars of Samurai Cop clearly took front and center last week. But Andy Sidaris is such an interesting guy. And also, he's in this movie.
Yes, he is. I'll tell you,
he's in all of them, actually.
You know what's funny to me, and I mentioned this to you off air, that I found it hilarious that I've actually watched other films in this series before.
Yeah.
And didn't realize they were a series.
Right.
Because it's all basically, the whole thing is based off of the same covert crime, government crime fighting task force, but they're separate stories, correct?
Right. Yeah, they are all standalone stories, and
except for the last two, where they're the final film in the series is a direct sequel to the film before it, and that stars former WCW/NWO mainstay Buff the Stuff Bagwell.
Yeah, the
just saying it, I can't not laugh at it.
The what is called the Bullets, Bombs, and Babes, or Bullets, Bombs, and Boobs.
I was gonna say Bullets, Bombs, and Boobs, but
yeah, Bullets, Bombs, and Babes, or Bullets, Bombs, and Boobs extended universe of films directed by Andy Sidaris and produced by Andy and his wife, Lynn Sedaris. Star a plethora of Playboy Playmates and Penthouse models from the mid to late 80s and 90s. He's just incredibly.
It seems to me that's exactly what he did. He combed Playboy, Penthouse, and all the nudie mags at that time for the models that had aspirations to have an acting career.
Yeah, and Donna Spear, who is in this film, plays Donna Hamilton, one of the two leads. Wow. She is in almost all of these movies, with the exception of, I think, the last two.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, she plays the same part in all of them. This sort of like the agency chick, and she's sort of the central character in all of them. Though there are also many other members of the agency that show up, in all of them.
And it's never really. Oh well, no, it is given the name. I was getting ready to say it doesn't even have a name. It's just the agency. But no, it's. But so, what is Malachi Cargo? Is that just their face?
So yeah. So the way that I understand it is that Malachi Cargo is an actual company, but that's where they have Donna undercover, because she works with her partner at Malachi Cargo. Taryn is actually a civilian. She is not a part of the agency, though she's indoctrinated into the agency after this film, moving forward for she has a couple of film arc as well.
Right, yeah, because as she states, she can do some of the sort of shady stuff that they can't do because she's a civilian. But after she did the shady thing, then she joins the agency.
Yeah, the
but how undercover is Donna? If Taryn knows,
if her partner knows, I don't. Well, they do share a lot of secrets when they're doing their best thinking in the jacuzzi.
Yeah, yeah.
The films in this series start with Malibu Express, which we'll talk briefly about because it is mentioned in this film. Hard Ticket to Hawaii, Picasso Trigger, Savage Beach, Guns, Do or Die, Hard Hunted, Fit to Kill, Day of the Warrior, and Lethal Ladies Return to Savage Beach.
Wow. And now that is the entire series, correct?
That's the entire series, yeah. It starts with Malibu Express, and another runner through the whole series is there's a family named the Abilines. They mentioned in Hard Ticket to Hawaii, Cody Abilene. He was the lead of Malibu Express.
Gotcha.
And what's funny about the Abilines, and there's an Abilene in this movie, even though he's not named.
Rowdy Abilene.
Rowdy Abilene, that's right. And the funniest thing about the Abilines is that none of them can shoot for shit.
That is hilarious. See, it's almost like this is such a B movie series, but when you look past the B of it, it's actually not terrible, and it kind of maintains a lot of the continuity, which some better movies they can't seem to do. Like before the MCU, it was almost like getting continuity in any sort of series was next to impossible.
Yeah, before we get too far into Hard Ticket to Hawaii, I want to say a couple of other things about Andy Sidaris. Mostly his money came from being heavily involved in sports media. He was the original director for the Wild World of Sports.
Nice.
And also he won an Emmy, Bryan, for his involvement in sports media broadcasting. He was the inventor of what has come to be known as the honey shot, which is the close-up of cheerleaders and pretty girls in stands at sporting events. That is a Andy Sidaris invention, and it is absolutely on brand.
All right. Well, that's good to know.
It is the most on-brand thing that he could do, because if you look at his movies, and before this episode is over, Mr. Tan, in spite of all of the nudity and all of the eye candy in these movies, I will make the argument that Mr. Andy Sidaris is a feminist.
Okay. I am excited to be a part of this walk, of this. I'm sure it's going to be a walk to remember.
It could be. It's definitely one that you will hope to forget. But
all right, so let me make sure. Now, I just went to andysidaris.com.
Okay.
And it says click to buy the full collection on DVD. Well,
yes.
Can I get it on Blu-ray?
I don't know. I have it on DVD.
You have the whole collection?
Yeah, we got the box set.
Nice. How much did that run?
I honestly don't even know.
I might have to try. I might try to get it just to say that I have the complete Andy Sidaris collection.
Actually,
so
the Blu-rays. There are Blu-rays of his movies. It looks like Do or Die, Guns, Malibu Express, Hard Ticket to Hawaii, Picasso Trigger, and Savage Beach. That's going to be the original run. Like you said, the last two standalones. The last two were their own sort of stories. So the first run of the movies are all on Blu-ray, but I don't see a box set for them.
All right. Yeah, because I think that I believe that Day of the Warrior and Return to Savage Beach. Yeah, those are the ones that have Buff Bagwell in them. I think he was only in 2 or 3 of them. But now, so the series goes, and I know you just read it, but I want to do it again. So it's Malibu Express. That's number 1. And then we just watched the second film in the series, Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Yes.
Then
my God. Just for the record, Mr. Tan, you can get the 12-film DVD set for $10.
Where?
On the website. I'll send you the link right now.
All right, cool.
It's called the box set is called Girls, Guns, and G-Strings.
Oh, okay. All right. I can get down with that. All right, so hold on. So let me go back here because I started clicking stuff. It's like, oh my God, $10.
Yeah, there's a lot this week for sure.
Dude, to know that I can get 12 movies
for $10,
how could I not?
Right. Yeah, these movies are fantastic. And you'll see in that collection that there are a few other titles. Mm-hmm. Like the Dallas Connection, I think, is in there, and a couple of other things.
That must be a spinoff.
Yeah, I mean, and there were some things too that I think that his wife directed, that she was the lead director on, so they're not coming up on his IMDb.
Gotcha.
Let's see if I can. I was looking at.
All right, so it's Malibu Express, then its sequel, Hard Ticket to Hawaii, then Picasso Trigger, that's the next one, then Savage Beach, Guns, Do or Die. Mm-hmm. I think it should have been Doe or Die, to be honest.
Doe or Die.
Hard Hunted, Fit to Kill, Enemy Gold, Dallas Connection, mm-hmm. Day of the Warrior, and Return to Savage Beach. Oh my goodness.
I mean, and it's, I feel like Andy sort of invented the Adam Sandler model of like, let's take a vacation with a bunch of hot chicks and make a movie, because they're all set in Hawaii. With the exception of Malibu Express and the Dallas Connection. They're in Texas.
Right. I mean, can we? All right. So can we talk about the really, really, really on the nose song that is like the one of the lead songs in this?
Yeah, in fact, almost all of these movies feature one of those sort of. It's almost like a page from James Bond, right?
Right.
There's an original song written for the movie with the title in the song.
And even though the words to the title do not go together rhythmically, they
Right.
find a way to make them come together rhythmically.
Yeah, it is. I love this song. It's my favorite of the batch.
I love the fact that, wow, apparently Eric Estrada and Danny Trejo were in Guns.
Yes,
Nice.
that is true. Yeah, and that's the other thing that's kind of surprising is that every one of these movies has one or two people that were like a big deal on TV at that time. Because the guy in the opening scene of this film, his name escapes me right now, but he was on a soap opera at that time.
Okay.
Are
you talking about the two cops?
No, the guy on the boat at the very, very beginning.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know that we ever saw him again.
He was just like, look, man, I'll be in your movie. I just don't want to be in your movie.
Yeah, it's like they were staying at the same hotel or something.
Hey, man, you want to be in a movie? Quick spot? Yeah, I ain't doing shit else. I'm on vacation.
Well, and what struck me this time, because I watched it sober this time.
Wow.
Yeah. What struck me this time around was that there were enough different plots in this movie to make like 5 different 30-minute episodes of television.
There were a whole hell of a lot there was a lot going on in this movie.
Yeah, so let's see if we can identify just the basic threads that wind their way through.
All right, so there's a newlywed couple that want to go to an uninhabited place.
Yes, because
for their honeymoon.
Because they want to be completely alone, because their stated reason is because they like it when nature is that, unencumbered. But I think
they want loud, dirty newlywed sex.
Yeah, for sure, on the beach.
Yeah.
So they're not really in the movie that long, because the girls at Malachi Cargo fly them out to this private beach and then kind of leave them there.
Right. But then there's also a snake that's supposed to go to some place, but they took the wrong snake.
Yeah, so on this island, there are no snakes, which I think is bullshit already.
That is not a thing.
Right.
Snakes are everywhere. They are a part of the ecosystem.
Right. So that's not a thing. But there were 2 snakes coming through the cargo hangar that day, and one of them was for display at like some museum or something. Yeah. And then the other snake
I love this that you said it was in a museum. It belongs in a museum.
And then the other snake was, I don't know where they were trying to send it or who had sent it, but it was contaminated because it had eaten cancer rats.
So it's a cancer snake. Gotcha.
I guess what happened is that they had maybe tried to treat the rats for their cancer with chemotherapy, and then the snake ate them, becoming then contaminated by the radiation.
Gotcha. So it's a cancer chemo snake. Gotcha.
And so the snake, let's talk about the snake for a minute. Because
Alrighty.
The snake is my favorite thing in this movie. Well,
oh my God, it is
second favorite thing in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's really just like a puppet, I think.
I don't know what it is, but damn it, is it never fun?
It has all of the indications that it's just a really long snake, a long puppet. And when it slithers, it's clearly just being like pulled by somebody.
Yeah. It's so bad, but it's so good.
Yeah, it is incredibly insidious.
Oh my God, apparently Pat Morita was in some of these movies. Oh my God.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you, the Andy Sidaris rabbit hole is one that is all consuming.
Oh my God, that means that I can connect Ralph Macchio to Penthouse Playmates. This is so great.
So you have the cancer snake that gets away and is running loose on the island, and they make sure to tell us that this thing will eat and destroy whatever it comes in contact with.
So it should. Oh my god. Oh, but then you also get these cops that like. So every year we go to where they're growing weed, and we give them a small fine, but we don't really do anything because it keeps things running in our area. And wait a minute, that's not just weed. Oh, I'm dead.
Now tell me why these two guys looked like little kids playing dress up.
They really did.
Right.
I knew something bad was going to happen as soon as the guy was like, now listen, I'm only 3 days till retirement, so you're going to be taking over.
Yes, that's the best. Like, and it's little moments like that sort of key you into the fact that Andy Sidaris absolutely knew what he was doing.
Absolutely. But what's really great is that he knew what he was doing, but everyone else just seems to be having a good time.
Right. Yeah.
It's like they're taking what they're doing like seriously, but having fun at the same time.
Yeah. Well, the guy did not write an incredibly serious script. You know?
No, he didn't. He really didn't. But everyone that's in this, it's like, especially, pretty much everyone that's in it, but the ladies even more so, they're really trying to give like an amazing, like, how sometimes it feels like some people either can't act or they're just phoning it in.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, no matter how hard they try, they're just a horrible actor.
Mm-hmm.
The women seem to be like really trying, but some of the men are just like,
right. Yeah.
Like Rowdy for one.
Yeah. Well, Rowdy's job in this movie is to just be like the doof,
Yeah, he's just there to be the Rowdy and his buddy. What was the other dude?
Samurai Cop.
Yeah, the samurai cop looking guy. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember his name either. He was really remarkable.
Rowdy, and let me see. What the hell was that other dude's name? He was his karate friend. Was it? No, not Michael Michelle. No.
It wasn't Jade, was it?
It might be Jade.
Played by Harold Diamond.
Yeah, I think it was Jade.
Yeah, that's him.
Oh man.
Harold Diamond, best known to movie fans as John Rambo's stick fighting opponent in Rambo 3.
Yeah. So the cops get killed by aviator sunglasses man.
Yeah, whose code name is Shades.
Shades. Yeah,
Shades.
He's not Hernan. What's his name from Luke Cage? He's just stereotypical white dude in Hawaii with shades.
Yeah. Right. So they sort of catch this drug deal going down, and so they get murdered.
Yeah. And then, so after he dies, then the girls fly to the island.
Right.
And
it's a
huh?
To Hawaii.
Yeah. It's a hot ticket to Hawaii, 'cause there's bullets and guns and green things and snakes on the plane. 'Cause it's a hot
Yeah, honestly, this movie did tiptoe real close to Snakes on a Plane territory.
It really did. Like, I was expecting, like, at some point, I'm expecting a much younger Samuel L. Jackson just popping up out of nowhere. I'm sick of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking honeymoon plane.
I do wonder, like, why is it that Malachi Cargo is flying tourists and cargo?
Yeah, like, those planes are only, like, you can't do both.
Right.
And their weight limit is, and they're not even for, like, a far travel, like maybe an hour away.
Yeah.
So why are you taking 4 adults, 1 man and 3 women, and I don't know how much silicone, and cargo?
Yeah. There's another plot line.
Can we also discuss the fact that the opening credits are just like Xeroxes
on cargo boxes?
On cargo boxes,
which I think is actually kind of cool. Like, it's a really long opening segment, but
yeah, it kind of is. It does kind of make it really. It makes it charming in its own way.
Yeah, like there's no way you get to the other side of those credits and think that you're watching a very serious film.
There's no way in hell.
Because you also get introduced to that snake right there at the end.
Yep.
Then you have this other storyline that feels completely detached, but everything else in the movie runs through this restaurant called Edie's.
Yeah.
And Edie's is also a mainstay in all of these movies.
Right. But yeah, then there's the one thing too that sort of, it tries to make everything come together minus the snake, is that some drug dealer dude is sending diamonds as currency to some other dude. And he's using his toy helicopter drone to drop it off.
His Radio Shack remote control helicopter.
Yeah, and then Dude A's guys are showing up because I guess the diamonds are supposed to be to make a drug purchase or something.
That's what I think, yeah.
And then like there's two things of diamonds. One falls out into a hole, and the other one is taken by Taryn. Right. And these guys try to fight the girls. Freeze! And then the girls fight them off. And like they run away because I'm gonna pull a Shane Wilson drunk reunion, and they just fucking run away.
That's what they do, and then they go home.
That's just what they do.
And then they say, well, we need to get in the jacuzzi because that's where we do our best thinking.
Yeah. So we see, bare breasts for about a minute. And then now they have to hurry. They've already changed out of their work clothes to get into the jacuzzi, topless. And then they have to change again because now they have to hurry up and leave to the women's stuff.
There's a huge motif in Andy Sidaris films of watching women get dressed and undressed for the entire duration that it takes them to get dressed and undressed.
Right.
Like he doesn't cut any of that stuff out. Like while they're getting ready, we're watching the whole thing.
Right. Well, because we need story perspective, Shane.
Right.
That's all he's trying to give us.
I mean, there's a lot going on in the silence.
That's true.
What are they thinking? That sort of thing. There's another storyline that we haven't mentioned yet, which is that Andy Sidaris plays a character who's a TV sports guy in real life, and he's on the island because it's like football week and they're interviewing football players.
Oh boy.
And that storyline just never goes anywhere.
I don't even understand the point. I don't get why that was a thing.
I don't either, because that particular storyline never tied in.
And it was just dumb. It was totally stupid. It made zero sense.
Well, Andy Sidaris often plays a part like this in all of his movies that just kind of exists to be there so that he can be in the movie.
Right.
And
it's just like, I just want to be involved. Come on, guys. I want to play too.
He has one of my favorite exchanges in the movie.
So, like, which one was he? Was he the pudgy guy, or
you'll remember this line. He comes into a woman is sat with him at Edie's, and he says, Shannon, darling, blah, 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 blah. And she goes,
oh, yes.
She goes, you tried to rape me last night. He goes, that was last night. This is today.
Yeah. I seriously almost checked out on that too. Just like, dude.
Right, yeah. And so
does not age well.
He's the sleazy television producer that's there for no reason.
Right.
Now, like you said, whenever the stuff with the diamonds goes down, Donna reaches out to these two male agents from the agency, Rowdy and Jade, and they receive news via a sandwich courier. And we meet them when they're practicing their karate on the boat on the Malibu Express, by the way.
And and they are doing karate. That's that Barry Goldberg karate.
Yes, it is. Excellent. But so they get in touch and et cetera, et cetera. Now, my favorite scene in the movie is when these two guys get to Hawaii and they are driving the Jeep to go meet up with Donna. and the henchman for our drug guy Seth Romero, his henchmen find them. And this scene, I just want to I want to know if you can help me understand what the plan was.
Okay.
So there was a guy riding a skateboard doing a handstand.
Yeah, I guess they couldn't get Tony Hawk.
Right. So he was doing a handstand. The two agents are like, he must be on some big dope or something, big doobies. And he skateboards by them, and then he gets in the back of a Jeep. In the front passenger seat of the Jeep is a blow-up sex doll.
I don't know where that came from. I don't even know why that was a thing, but okay.
So then the Jeep drives him back up the road. They pass the two agents. Then he gets back out of the car, gets on the skateboard, this time with a gun, and uses the sex doll, I guess, to cover it up, and then rides back toward the two agents and tries to shoot them. He does shoot Samurai Cop in the shoulder, or the chest, really, sort of the upper part of the chest,
in the upper pectoral region.
That's right. But then Rowdy Abilene turns around and fires off 2 rockets at the guy.
Yeah, he shoots. First he shoots the guy, and then he shoots his sex toy.
Yes.
Why?
That is my favorite scene in the movie because it is just so, it's, if I were to show you one scene that would, I think, encapsulate what an Andy Sidaris movie is like, it's this one. It just doesn't have any bare breasts in it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing really missing here.
Yeah, I just, wow.
So
I mean, and honestly, I just wanted to scream, like, what was the point? Those rockets are expensive.
Yeah.
And you're going to use one to shoot a sex doll.
Well,
okay. But apparently, yeah, but that's the only thing that people in his family can fire with any sort of act.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So then there's some, very kind of B-list espionage that happens with the telephone and the bartender at.
Now, this was
Edie's.
really cool, though.
Yeah.
Because it was like I could not tell that was a guy.
Yeah, not until he started talking.
Yeah, as soon as he spoke, I was like, wait a minute.
But the fact that I thought that this was actually pretty clever too. And it's one of it's the best kind of like what just happened moments in the movie. And it actually is pretty good. This guy that works for Seth Romero is cross-dressing and working at Edie's as a bartender named Michelle.
Yeah, and was always like hacking the phones and getting in on all the nitty-gritty.
Yeah,
and
now
passing the intel.
Now here's something that I could never quite pin down. Is Edie an accomplice or is Edie in the agency?
I think Edie is in the agency and Edie's is like
just
another
cover.
front company. It's another front company.
That's sort of what I thought too, because she really is she's kind of the point person in a lot of the other movies.
Well, she's also really, really point and changing clothes to go and pick up the guys from the hospital.
That's right. Well, you got to look on point when you go pick up Samurai Cop from the hospital.
That's true.
So the bad guys, for lack of a better word, I guess. Seth Romero also terrified of snakes, by the way.
Yeah, he don't like the idea of snakes.
The snake thing is so funny because every time you forget about the snake pops
there it
up.
goes.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's hilarious. Like they track Donna and Taryn to their place to try to, and like a guy and a girl go in with the pantyhose over the grill pieces to try to steal the
right. But you can just see their faces. Like there's
clearly see their faces.
It's the least effective disguise ever.
Yeah.
Now here's a really interesting moment in this scene where they go to Donna's house. And that is the fact that she has a movie poster for Malibu Express, which is so confusing.
That product placement.
It's just so confusing because she was in Malibu Express.
So does that mean Malibu Express exists in their continuity?
Well, that's the question, right? Is Malibu Express is is chapter 1 of this story, but now it looks like it's been reduced to a film. So did they make a movie in this universe about the events that took place in Malibu Express?
And now
or did Malibu Express only exist as a movie in this world? Because they talk about Cody Abilene as though he's a real person.
I'm so confused in my head.
I am actually incredibly confused as well. But a couple of those movie posters there would end up being movies in this universe.
I just find it hilarious that they really had to. So basically, this is where Tyrese Gibson got his whole thing where he just does stuff for money, like with the product placement.
Yeah,
got to pay them bills somehow.
Well,
make that money.
Now, I think that at some point, just for kicks and giggles, you should watch Malibu Express. I think we should do it on the show, but Malibu Express is my other favorite movie in this lineup.
I'm seriously contemplating on pulling the trigger on getting this 12 disc, this 12 movie set.
You just can't beat it for $10.
12 movies on for $10.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be 12 movies on 3 discs, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So it's 4 movies per disc.
Yeah, they're double-sided.
I hate double-sided discs.
I know, I do too, but it's on point. I mean, it's worth $10.
So basically, it's 2 movies per. So it's 2 movies. No,
it's 4 movies per disc, 2 movies per side.
Okay, yeah, I was getting ready to say. So it's 2 movies per side. So okay, I don't know. Part of me, I'm wondering if I should hold out until there's a Blu-ray collection.
Well, they're clearly doing it because several of those movies have been made into Blu-rays.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I should just wait.
Yeah, I don't know.
If I should just wait a little while.
Well, after we put this episode up and the Andy Sidaris fever takes over America,
we will be the instigators of the Andy Sidaris.
Hashtag Andy fever.
I've got Andy fever. You've got Andy fever. We've got Andy fever. We're in love.
Hashtag Sedaris virus 19.
It's no longer for COVID anymore.
Right. All right. So the guys we're all together. They brought their trunk of toys, which is really just guns and stuff. They've also Donna and company. They've also been doing a little bit of reconnaissance. They filmed that agent Shades. And he plays Frisbee with this chick every afternoon on the beach.
No clue why, but okay.
Yeah, she just walks up.
Can we also point out that when they tried to steal the stuff, when they tried to steal the diamonds, it was because of that the crate with the killer snake got loose.
Yeah.
And then Romero got scared and started shooting at nothing. And then he got his grill piece shot.
Yeah, how did this dude get shot in the face?
And then at first, Taryn is like, "Oh my God, you shot him in the face!" And she's like, "You shot him in the face, too."
Seth Romero is almost indestructible in this movie.
He's like Kenny.
Yeah, he really is, because he gets shot in the face, then he gets harpooned in the chest, and then he gets stabbed in the gut. And then the only thing that finally gets him is the snake.
Yeah, and then he's still and then he gets blown up along with the snake.
Right. That snake was so intense, though, because Abilene fired off a rocket at it, and it ate the rocket, and it just blew its head up. It didn't even, hit the rest of the body at all.
Well, I love the fact that he shoots the snake, and all it does, the bullets deflect off the fangs.
You're right.
What?
Yes.
Dude, I did not realize that snakes had adamantium fangs now.
I'm not sure if you realized going in how hard this ticket to Hawaii was going to be.
Oh my God. This ticket was made from vibranium.
Yes. Indestructible. Just like the teeth of that snake.
And some.
Let's see. So I guess we can get into the big climax.
Yeah. Sure.
Which is really just a shootout. So first they kill Shades by just putting some straight edge razors on the side of a Frisbee.
Yeah.
Now,
and of
this
course,
is
he has to
also
hold it against his neck to show that he's dying.
this right. This is also pretty classic. Andy Sidaris is the invention of all of these like gadgets. This is something that he takes from the James Bond franchise, but it's like if you had to do all of the James Bond gadgets with a dollar store budget.
Yeah, it's so great.
So you have an RC, like you have a remote control helicopter. You have a frisbee with razor blades taped to the side of it. And also, did you notice how many times people just threw their weapons?
Way more often than necessary.
Right. You threw nunchucks. You threw a sword.
You know what? Let's just throw everything. Why not?
Yeah, they were just throwing shit at each other. Like they
What's
had
the
guns.
point of having weapons? Just throw the shit at each other. Go ahead.
It was so funny, man.
Oh, man.
But yeah, so they have the big. Then they all get to the compound where Seth is holding. Seth ended up capturing Edie.
Yeah. So Edie was held prisoner and was basically being tortured for information.
By who was that random muscular chick?
I don't know.
I mean, they gave a name, but it was like she'll get it out of you. And then it was just this weird, super erotic muscle flexing scene of her like flexing with nunchucks. And that was all the intro we got to her.
I have no clue why that was a thing, but okay.
So then she was torturing Edie, and Edie wouldn't talk. But anyway, so they finally save Edie. I love that they.
Oh, dog.
I love that they kill all of these goons, and then they're on their way out, and they're like, "Wait, who killed Seth?"
Yeah, they killed everyone. Wait, what about Seth? Crap! I knew.
And then Rowdy Abilene busts out of the back of this van on
with a motorcycle.
Yeah. Right.
With his motorcycle.
Yeah, with his rocket launcher.
Yeah, his motorcycle and rocket launcher. He isn't playing any games.
Nope. And so
now Donna has gone away. She's gone to, get back in the hot tub, I guess.
Yeah, she's gone back home.
Yeah, and that's when your boy shows up trying to kill her. And
she like beats his ass.
She does about
over and over and over.
And he won't die. It was just like on Austin Powers. Why won't you die?
It was like the end of every Halloween movie took place in 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, like
because she was in the closet.
Every single near-death sequence, all at the same time.
So eventually, she thinks that he's dead, and she's like relaxing by the toilet, and then the snake explodes out of the toilet.
I'm like, damn, bro. Damn.
But it's another one of those moments where it's like, oh, well, the snake, I had forgotten about the snake.
Yeah, because they tell us the snake's going to die in 36 hours anyway.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, then who cares about the
snake?
Whoa,
yeah.
There it is.
Oh, man.
Because, we should also point out that the snake killed the honeymooners.
Right. Yes, that's true. Now, whenever this whole time, Seth Romero, our bad guy, has been talking on the phone to a Mr. Chang, not played by an Asian, and just some white guy named Peter.
Pete Chang, but he's part Chinese, part British.
Yeah,
and was raised in London.
Yeah, Mr. Chang is the big bad, right?
Yeah. So after Romero dies, then it's like, well, now we have to go after Mr. Chang. Hasn't been fully involved in anything, but we got to get him anyway.
Yeah. Now tell me how easy it was for them to just walk up in his office.
Dude, it was just like, hey, bad guys, can you move? We're going to, oh, sorry, guys. We didn't mean to get in your way.
Now, see, here's an example of something that I think could have probably been expanded on if we didn't have this, like, television producer storyline.
And I'm not going to give any sort of credence to the discussion that they had either on where it's like, wow, I don't think that's going to air.
Right. Yeah, that and the satellite had just happened to cut off, so now he's got to go interview this golf.
Well, I'm glad, because who needs racial slurs going over the satellite feed? I mean, come on.
Well, racial slurs and F-bombs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure the FCC is going to want to have a chat.
Right. It felt to me, if we can humor that just for a moment, it felt to me like those two football players were trying to throw that guy under the bus.
I think so. And I'm
Like,
okay.
it's not going to hurt their career necessarily, but
I'm all right with it. Screw that guy.
yeah, he was no good. But anyway, so these two just
It's Rowdy and
Donna.
Donna just sort of roll in, and it's just like, hey, I'm gonna throw a sword at you. Well, we're just gonna
first
shoot
they
you.
beat the piss out of his henchman with nunchucks.
He would not go down.
No, good for him, man. But yeah,
I'm getting the most out of my screen time, damn it.
Oh man, like it really did take, I wish I timed it, but like 90 seconds for this guy to go down. And he didn't even put up a fight. He just kept standing.
Right. He just
like, if you're going to stand there and take it for so long, you should at least throw a punch or two.
Yeah, but he's just standing there like, yeah, you're going to have to take it all out on me. Yeah, because I'm a fabulous punching bag. Beat me. I love it.
Did you get the sense that they had walked in on like an employee evaluation?
Yeah. I think
because the guy was not, he wasn't there for like to be a guard. He was like in the middle of a meeting.
Right. It's like, it's almost like, all right, Dave from HR, I'm glad that we could have you come up here today. So we just want to talk about how do you feel that you've done this quarter?
Well, I think that, I think that I could take like a good solid 90 seconds of nunchucks to the face.
Oh, really? Well, you're just in luck because we have these intruders.
Oh, what are you doing here?
Oh, I am so surprised that you've shown up here at my evil boss's lair.
This has been a training simulation.
Yeah.
So they beat that dude down, and then Fujiyama has pulled out a sword off of the wall, and they're like, "Oh, you brought a knife to a gunfight," and they both pull out guns, and Donna's gun is bigger, which is, again, I will make my case for Andy Sidaris being a feminist, a sneaky feminist, in a minute. But so then he throws the sword at them and doesn't even hit one of them.
Not even close. So why did you throw the sword if you're not proficient?
Right. At least swing on one of them, right? Like, but
and
anyway,
Donna the only one, and Donna's the only one that hit.
Yeah. So then because Rowdy Abilene can't shoot. Because remember when they were outside of the compound earlier, he shot at that dude 6 times and never hit.
So eventually, so he falls out the window because we had to have our Dick Jones moment. And, whoa, what's going on, man? Oh, well, I'm glad that wasn't one of our friends.
Right. Now, is this when they were on the boat drinking champagne, or was that earlier?
No, this is when everyone's sitting on the boat, and Taryn's like, well, I'm going to keep the diamonds because you guys can't. And I can give you money.
This is the other thing that happens at the end of all of these movies, is that all of the agents get together and drink champagne somewhere.
Do any of the agents die ever?
I don't actually even really know. Because like you can probably assume I was pretty drunk when I watched most of these, especially by the time I got to the end of them. But I don't know. I think they just probably kind of phase agents in and out,
Gotcha.
More than anything. Like if they can't get this guy back for this movie, then they'll just bring up a new person. But now one of the movies does focus on the agency a lot. Like you're at the headquarters and they're all around the table and everything. So, there's a little bit to this extended universe that the Babes, Bullets, and Bombs extended universe that Andy Sidaris gifted us with his illustrious career.
I think it's just hilarious though that Buff Bagwell was such a popular character that they made a sequel just for his character.
Yeah, it's like they got Buff Bagwell while he was on the way up, and then like his wrestling career hit, and they were like, "Oh, we got to get this guy back."
Yeah, and Buff Bagwell's like, "That's all right. I'm in the NWO. I don't really do much anyway."
Right. So let's get Bartender Smiley in here, and we can talk a little bit about our ratings.
The Plotaholics rating system for the movies is a pretty simple system. Basically, they rate movies based on how many shots it takes to get through them. So if you got a good movie and you get through it all the way sober, then it takes 0 shots to get through the movie. And then if you got a really bad movie, then it could take up to 5 shots to get through the whole thing. I think you can try to figure out the middle part yourself. So what can I get you?
All right, Mr. Tan. I have so much fun with this movie.
This movie is a lot of fun. Your terrible movies are fun.
I want to say, before you get on, I want to just make my really quick argument that Andy Sidaris is a feminist.
Okay, let's hear it.
In none of these films, so there's a lot of crude stuff that the men say about the women, right?
Yeah.
But the women give it back, right? Like,
yeah, that's one thing that I really like.
Yeah, that there's just sort of this back and forth. The women are in these movies, while they are clearly meant to be ogled, like, I don't think that he makes them into objects, because there is a scene in this movie where someone gets fellatiated, but they don't film it in a softcore porn kind of way. They don't glamorize it really. And they never have sex in this movie. And I don't recall them ever really having sex in any of the movies.
Yeah, the only time they really you don't see them actually having sex. It's there, but it's like more implied.
The other thing is that the Abilene family is the main sort of character of these movies beside Donna.
Mm-hmm.
And Donna in this film has Taryn, and Taryn sticks with her for a while, but eventually that cycles through. And then the other main character is Edie, who sticks around for most of the movies. So Donna always ends up starring alongside an Abilene, but Donna never needs saving. Donna saves herself.
Yeah, what I also like is that the guys come in as backup, not as saviors.
Absolutely.
They're backup, which is what you're supposed to have.
Right. And not only that, but like, Donna beats the bad guy in this movie in hand-to-hand combat.
Right. And it's actually a pretty good fight scene.
Right. And so I think that when you don't have the women in the film having a bunch of sex, and they aren't objects to the men in the movie, like, I feel like Andy Sidaris is celebrating the female form, and I feel like he is putting women at the forefront of his movie. He makes them better shots. He gives them bigger guns. He gives them better zingers.
And what's really cool, though, is that the guys that are trying to objectify the women, they get side glances, they get glared at, they get shamed.
They end up being the goofs of the movie.
Right. They're the ones to laugh at, and the women are the front and center lead characters.
Right.
And there's something to be said about these women. I mean, yeah, they're naked and everything, but you know what? They also don't act ashamed. They act strong and confident throughout the whole thing. And you know what? I'm for it. I liked this movie. As goofy as it is, I really enjoyed it. And I do like the way the women, like, you can have women be sexy and tough and badass.
Right. And this, to me, like, Donna, to me, exemplifies that strong female protagonist that we've talked so much about, because she's still beautiful and she's still feminine. But she
can whoop that ass.
Right. But she can whoop that ass.
But it's also the one thing, and this is something that, as much as I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it was one thing that I hated in Buffy, how Buffy acted like she didn't need anybody and blah, blah, blah. Right. I don't need it. You know, it's like Donna recognizes that she can't do it alone.
Right.
She does what she can do alone, and when she needs backup, she has backup, but she doesn't take a back seat. Right. She is still in the forefront. Like in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it's almost like every season she has to learn that she can't do it alone.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
No, so I mean, no, I'm all for I like the way the women are portrayed in this film. And yeah, I mean, I had a lot of fun. This was fun.
It was fun. And I do want to mention one other thing that I forgot. The scene where they're at Edie's, there's these three guys sitting around a table, and one guy's just talking about all the vitamins he takes.
Oh, God. I'm glad that we can have that.
That just makes me laugh so much. I was like, that's like 5 minutes of him explaining what everything in his multivitamin does.
Well, you know, sometimes you need fillers somewhere.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Tan, give us your rating for Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
This movie is probably my favorite so far of shitty movie summer. Got guns, you got boobs, you have a snake. What more do you need in a movie?
Does it beat out Samurai Cop?
Oh my God. You know what? In a lot of ways it does, because this movie isn't as ridiculously laughable.
That's actually true. This movie is a little bit more competently put together.
Yeah. So I give this film for what it is. I give it a one-shot rating.
Yeah.
It's fun, it's exciting, and it's a ridiculous story, but it gets to the meat of what you want done. It doesn't get boggled down in technicalities.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that's a positive and a negative for this movie.
Yeah, I think that where this movie is better than Samurai Cop is that it knows from the beginning that it's ridiculous, and Samurai Cop was missing that wink and a nod, which I think makes Samurai Cop more fun to watch. It makes it more rewatchable because it's so bad, you know. This movie is just like a hair more competent than that, and so it's a little less funny, but it's still very enjoyable.
Right. And this is the type of movie that you would watch on Cinemax when you had no business being awake.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. But yeah, you know.
So what's your rating?
I give it a 1.
Cool.
I give it a 1 shot for what it's trying to do and all of that. And honestly, like, how ambitious of a project for somebody like Andy Sidaris to undertake to create this entire universe of essentially self-funded movies.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll tell you the truth. The fact that he was able to get Donna back for 12 movies, that's got to be saying something.
Well, I think she's in 10.
Oh, 10. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think she's in the last 2.
But I do like the fact that this is a film series.
Well, and
they're all standalone, but it's just fun.
I think that the fact that some of these women end up coming back to work with him is a testament to him, right? Like,
yeah,
she didn't have to come back for 10 movies if she didn't like the way that she was treated by Andy Sidaris on set. But here she came, you know?
Right. So, no, I mean, I think this is fun. For me, this has been my favorite of so far.
Yeah.
I mean, we're only 2 weeks in on your end.
Oh, well, it's only downhill from here.
Oh, okay. So what do we have next week?
Next week, I think, is Birdemic.
Yes. Birdemic. I have that prepared in my Amazon Prime machine.
It is just, as I have told Michelle over the last few weeks, I was like, it's going to get a lot more challenging for Bryan down the stretch here. Yeah, Birdemic is next week. Now, there is a
Shock and Terror.
Yeah, there is a Birdemic too, if you want to treat yourself to a double helping.
I might go, maybe. We'll see. I know I'll definitely be watching the Riff Tracks Birdemic.
Birdemic is wild. Its real hallmark is, aside from how shitty just everything about it is, it's the special effects will really surprise you, I think.
All right. I'm interested in this romp in this 2011.
Yeah, especially knowing that it was made in 2011. I think that the special effects are going to blow your mind.
But it's a platoon of eagles and vultures attack the residents of a small town.
Yeah.
You had me at eagles.
I like that they describe it as a platoon.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, my goodness.
Well, if you start watching the movie and for 5 minutes of the opening credits, it's just a car driving through the forest, then that's the right movie.
Fair enough.
You will long for the days of crates with people's names on them.
All right. I am excited to go this route.
Yes.
I am excited. I am so excited to embark upon this adventure.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you about it. And I think that's going to just about do it for us this week, Mr. Tan.
All righty then. Hey, folks, remember, like, share, subscribe. Go to plotaholics.com. We're going to have we have a few additional details to work out to take care of, maybe some new content, but we'll let you know. And you know what, Shane, there is one thing that I want to bring up to you. I want to share with you.
Yeah.
And if it's something that you're okay with doing, I want to see if I can get us an interview involved with it. But we can talk about that more later. But,
all right. I like that.
Shitty movie summer.
I like that you won't put me on the spot. I appreciate that.
I remember each time I put you on the spot, I got the Shane Wilson drunk threat. So
don't do it. Don't come at me like that.
Hey, don't come at me like that. You ain't got to put me on the spot like that, man.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and we will talk to you again real soon.
Take care, guys.
Take a trip with us to Nilbog. Just promise not to drink the goo.
Oh my God!
If you get sucked into the Matrix, we will send the phone for you.
Do you believe in fate?
Sometimes the end game is the perfect place to start.
We're in the end game now.
And other times you want to pretend the prequels were never a real thing. Let's just pod race to the end.
It's working!
Every movie has a plot hole, and every hole gets filled somehow. Whiskey, wine, or blue milk. Just don't cut me off right now. We're the Plotaholics, a breakfast club or two. We are the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you. Shane and Bryan are an island, two real-life misfit toys, wanting to be a RoboCop.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Settling for Black Circle boys, and just like Dr. Hammond, extracting amber from wood.
And later there's running and then
A
screaming.
little too busy asking if we could, and never asking if we should. But every movie has a plot hole, and every hole gets filled somehow with whiskey, wine, or blue milk. Just don't cut me off right now. We're the Plotaholics, a breakfast club of two. We're the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.